The crack of rifle fire echoes across the desolate Arizona canyon as Ethan McCready's horse collapses beneath him, blood seeping into the red dust. 3 mounted figures emerge from the rocks above, their faces hidden beneath wide-brimmed hats, revolvers glinting in the harsh afternoon sun. "Should have paid your debts, McCready," calls out the lead rider, his voice carrying the cold authority of a man accustomed to collecting what's owed. "Mr. Garrison, don't take kindly to welchers." Ethan rolls behind his dying horse, Winchester clutched in trembling hands. His once proud ranch clothes are now little more than sun-bleached rags, and his gaunt face tells the story of a man who's been running on empty for weeks. The irony isn't lost on him that after losing everything to gambling and drink, he's about to lose his life over a mere $100. "Come on, boys," Ethan shouts, his voice cracking with desperation. "It's just money. I can get it to you by month's end." Laughter echoes off the canyon walls. "Month's end?" The lead gunman spits into the dust. "You said that 3 months ago, and 3 months before that. Time's up, cowboy." Another volley of shots sends rock fragments exploding around Ethan's position. He fires back wildly, knowing his 6 rounds won't last long against 3 experienced killers. The heat is unbearable, and his water ran out yesterday. Even if he survives this ambush, the desert will finish what these men started. As bullets whine overhead, Ethan's mind drifts to Sarah, buried these past 2 years in the small cemetery outside Tucson. She'd warned him about the cards, about the bottle, about the company he kept. If she could see him now, dying like a dog in some nameless canyon, she'd probably say he got exactly what he deserved. The firing stops abruptly. In the oppressive silence that follows, Ethan can hear his own ragged breathing and the distant cry of a hawk circling high above. He peers around his makeshift barricade and sees something that makes his blood run cold. The 3 riders have vanished, their horses' hoofprints the only evidence they were ever there. "What the hell?" Ethan whispers, rising slowly from cover. The canyon feels different now, charged with an energy that makes the hair on his arms stand on end. The very air seems to shimmer with heat, but there's something else, something that doesn't belong in this wasteland of rock and sage. A scent carries on the wind, sweet and earthy, like rain on desert flowers, though no rain has fallen here in months. Ethan's horse gives a final, shuddering breath and lies still. He kneels beside the animal, running his hand along its neck one last time. "Sorry, old boy. Should have sold you for drinking money months ago. Might have saved us both a lot of trouble." Standing, he shoulders his saddlebags and begins walking deeper into the canyon. He has no destination in mind, only the vague hope that he might find water before the sun sets and the desert cold claims him. Each step is an effort now, his boots worn thin, his legs weak from hunger and exhaustion. The canyon walls grow higher as he walks, casting welcome shadows that provide brief respite from the relentless heat. Ancient petroglyphs mark the red stone, symbols whose meaning died with the people who carved them generations ago. Or so he thinks. "You walk in sacred places, white man." The voice stops Ethan dead in his tracks. It comes from everywhere and nowhere, echoing off the canyon walls with an otherworldly resonance. He spins around, Winchester raised, but sees only empty rock and shadow. "Who's there?" His voice is barely a croak. "Show yourself. Turn around." The command carries such authority that Ethan obeys without thinking. What he sees defies everything he thought he knew about the world. She stands 30 feet away, where moments before there had been nothing but empty canyon floor. The woman is tall, easily 6 feet, with the proud bearing of Apache nobility. Her skin is the color of burnished copper, marked with intricate tattoos that seem to move in the shifting light. Her hair falls in a single thick braid to her waist, adorned with feathers and small bones that catch the sun like jewelry. She wears traditional Apache clothing, but there's something timeless about her, as if she belongs to no particular era but to the land itself. Most unsettling are her eyes. They're the deep brown of rich earth, but they hold depths that seem to go on forever. Looking into them, Ethan feels as though she can see not just his face but his soul, reading every sin, every failure, every moment of weakness that brought him to this place. "You're Apache," he manages to say, though his mouth is so dry the words barely come out. I am Ayana. Her English is perfect, without trace of accent, though something in her pronunciation suggests it's not her first language. And you are dying. It's not a question. Ethan can see in her expression that she knows exactly what condition he's in, perhaps better than he knows himself. He tries to straighten up, to maintain some dignity, but his knees buckle and he nearly falls. Those men, he gasps. The ones shooting at me. Where did they go? Ayana's expression doesn't change. They saw what they needed to see. They will not return. What's that supposed to mean? Instead of answering, she begins walking toward him. Each step is graceful, deliberate, like a dancer or a predator. As she draws closer, Ethan realizes she's even more imposing than he first thought. She doesn't just command attention, she demands it, radiating a power that makes the air around her feel electric. You have choices to make, Ethan McCready. The sound of his name from her lips sends a chill down his spine. How do you know who I am? I know many things. I know you lost your wife to the fever 2 summers past. I know you gambled away your ranch trying to forget her. I know you've been running from Sam Garrison's men for 3 months, drinking yourself toward death 1 bottle at a time. Each revelation hits like a physical blow. Ethan staggers backward until his shoulders hit the canyon wall. That's impossible. We've never met. Haven't we? Ayana stops just out of arm's reach, tilting her head as if studying a particularly interesting specimen. Tell me, when you dream, what do you see? The question catches him off guard. The dreams have been plaguing him for weeks now, vivid visions of desert landscapes and ancient ceremonies, of drums beating in rhythm with his heartbeat and voices chanting in languages he doesn't recognize. He's attributed them to guilt and whiskey, the mind's way of punishing him for his failures. I see places, ceremonies, things that don't make sense. Dreams are the language of the spirit world. Your spirit has been calling to mine. That's impossible. I don't believe in spirits or magic or any of that. Ayana's smile is enigmatic, neither mocking nor kind. Belief is not required for truth to exist. The sun rises whether you believe in it or not. She raises her hand, palm facing him, and Ethan feels compelled to look at it. Her palm is marked with a symbol he's never seen before, though it feels familiar somehow, like a half-remembered melody. The marking appears to be tattooed, but as he watches, it begins to glow with a soft, pulsing light. What happens if I touch you? The question escapes his lips before he can stop it, driven by a curiosity stronger than his fear. Ayana's smile deepens, and for the first time, there's genuine warmth in her expression. That, Ethan McCready, is the question that will determine whether you live or die in this place. The glowing symbol in her palm pulses brighter, and Ethan feels an inexplicable pull toward her, as if invisible threads connect his heart to that mysterious mark. The rational part of his mind screams warnings, but his body takes a step forward of its own accord. I can heal what is broken in you, Ayana says, her voice now barely above a whisper. But healing comes with a price. Are you prepared to pay it? What kind of price? Truth. You would have to face every lie you've told yourself, every coward's choice you've made. You would have to become the man your wife believed you could be, even when you couldn't see it yourself. The mention of Sarah brings tears to Ethan's eyes. He spent 2 years running from her memory, drowning it in whiskey and self-pity. The thought of confronting that pain directly terrifies him more than Garrison's guns ever could. And if I refuse? Then you die here, in this sacred place, and your bones will bleach white under the desert sun. In time, even your name will be forgotten. Ethan looks around the canyon, taking in the ancient petroglyphs, the towering walls, the perfect silence that seems to exist outside of time itself. He thinks of the 3 gunmen who vanished without explanation, of dreams that predicted this encounter, of a woman who shouldn't exist but stands before him radiating impossible power. This is all real, isn't it? He asks. Your abilities, this place. It's all real. As real as your pain. As real as your choice. Ayana extends her hand toward him, palm up, the glowing symbol pulsing like a heartbeat. I offer you a chance to become whole again, Ethan McCready. But you must choose freely. I cannot force healing upon you any more than I can force you to want to live. Ethan stares at her outstretched hand, knowing that this moment will define the rest of his life, however long that might be. The desert wind picks up, stirring dust devils between them, and somewhere in the distance, he hears the sound of drums beginning to beat. The first chapter ends here, leaving Ethan standing at the threshold of a choice that will transform everything he thought he knew about himself and the world around him. The drums grow louder, though no drummers are visible in the empty canyon. Ethan's hand trembles as he reaches toward Ayana's outstretched palm, the glowing cymbal pulsing in rhythm with the distant percussion. Just before their skin makes contact, he jerks his hand back. "Wait," he gasps. "Those men who were shooting at me. What did you do to them?" Ayana's expression remains serene, but something flickers in her dark eyes. "I showed them a truth they could not bear to see. They will ride back to Tucson and tell Sam Garrison that Ethan McCready died in this canyon, torn apart by desert wolves. They will believe this truth so completely that they will never question it. You made them see a lie. I made them see a possible future. Whether it becomes truth or remains merely possibility depends on what you choose now." Ethan wipes sweat from his forehead with his sleeve. The heat is becoming unbearable, but he suspects it has less to do with the desert sun and more to do with whatever power radiates from this mysterious woman. "If I touch you, if I accept your healing, what exactly happens to me? You will see yourself as you truly are, without the comfortable lies that have sheltered you from your own choices. You will experience every moment of pain you've caused others, every opportunity for good you've let slip away. But you will also see what you can become, the strength that lies dormant within you. And then? Then you must choose whether to embrace that potential or reject it. The healing I offer is not of the body, Ethan McCready. Your body will mend itself once your spirit finds peace. It is your soul that is dying, slowly poisoning everything it touches." The truth of her words hits him like a physical blow. He thinks of the horses he sold to buy whiskey, the friends who turned away when they saw him coming, the look of disappointment in the eyes of anyone who had ever believed in him. Sarah's face appears in his memory, not as she was at the end, wasted by fever, but as she was on their wedding day, radiant with hope and love for the future they would build together. "I killed her," he whispers, the admission torn from somewhere deep in his chest. "Not with my hands, but with my choices. If I'd been the man she needed, if I'd taken better care of her, gotten a doctor sooner instead of spending money on cards and drink." "The fever took your wife, not your failures," Ayana says gently. "But your guilt has been slowly killing you ever since." Ethan looks up at her, seeing compassion in her ancient eyes for the first time. "How do you know so much about pain?" "Because I have carried my own for longer than you can imagine." She closes her eyes briefly, and when she opens them again, Ethan sees something that shakes him to his core. Grief, deep and abiding, older than mountains. Whatever burdens she carries make his own suffering seem small by comparison. "You've lost someone too," he realizes. "I have lost everyone," she replies simply. "My people, my family, my way of life. I am the last keeper of ancient knowledge, the final guardian of ceremonies that will die with me. Do you think I offer healing to broken white men because I have nothing better to do?" The question hangs in the air between them, heavy with implication. Ethan studies her face, seeing past the otherworldly composure to the loneliness beneath. "You need something from me. Perhaps we need something from each other." She lowers her hand slightly, but the glowing symbol continues to pulse. "There is a darkness coming to this land, Ethan McCready. I have seen it in visions, felt it stirring in the spirit world. The old ways are dying, and with them, the balance that has kept certain things at bay for centuries. Soon, men like Sam Garrison and worse will run unchecked across this territory, taking what they please, destroying what they cannot understand. What does that have to do with me? I'm nobody. A failed rancher, a drunk, a man who can't even pay his debts. You are a man who once loved deeply and sacrificed everything for that love. You are a man who feels guilt because you still possess a conscience, despite your best efforts to drown it. Most importantly, you are a man standing in a place of power, being offered a choice that could change everything. The wind picks up again, and this time it carries voices, whispers in languages both familiar and foreign. Ethan turns his head, trying to locate the source of the sounds, but they seem to come from the canyon walls themselves, from the ancient petroglyphs that suddenly appear to be moving in the shifting light. This place, he says, realization dawning. It's not just sacred to your people. It's something else, isn't it? Ayana nods slowly. This is a crossing point, a place where the spirit world touches our own. Such places are rare and precious, but they are also dangerous. In the wrong hands, they can be used to bring through things that should remain on the other side. What kind of things? Hunger. Endless, consuming hunger that feeds on pain and fear. I have been guarding this crossing for 20 years, keeping it sealed with ceremony and prayer. But my strength grows thin, and I am alone. Soon, others will come here, drawn by dreams they don't understand. Some will be like you, broken souls seeking redemption. Others will be predators, seeking power. Ethan looks around the canyon with new eyes, noticing details he missed before. The petroglyphs aren't random symbols but form patterns, circles of protection and warding. The placement of rocks and the very shape of the canyon itself seems deliberate, designed. You're not just offering to heal me. You're recruiting me. I am offering you purpose. A reason to live that goes beyond your own pain. But first, you must be whole enough to bear the burden. She extends her hand again, and this time the light from her palm seems to reach toward him, creating a bridge of energy between them. Touch me, Ethan McCready, and see what you can become. Or walk away, and let the desert claim you as it has claimed so many others. The drums are thundering now, and Ethan realizes they're not external sounds but his own heartbeat, amplified by whatever power permeates this place. His hand moves forward almost of its own accord, drawn by a force stronger than conscious will. The moment their palms touch, the world explodes into light and sensation. Ethan finds himself standing in his old ranch house, watching himself stumble through the door drunk while Sarah waits at the kitchen table, dinner cold on the plate before her. He sees the disappointment in her eyes, feels the weight of promises broken and trust betrayed. But he also sees her love, constant and unwavering despite everything, and realizes for the first time how much strength it took for her to keep believing in him. The vision shifts, and he's kneeling beside her deathbed, holding her fevered hand while she whispers his name. But now he can hear what she was trying to tell him, words lost in delirium but clear as mountain streams in this place of truth. You're stronger than you know, she had said. Don't let my death be the end of your story. More visions follow in rapid succession. He sees himself as others saw him, the young man full of dreams who had first arrived in Arizona territory, the devoted husband who worked himself to exhaustion building a home for his bride, the broken widower who let grief transform him into a stranger. But woven through it all, he sees the constant presence of choice, moment after moment when he could have chosen differently. The visions expand beyond his own life. He sees Ayana as a young woman, watching her village burn while soldiers in blue uniforms lead her family away in chains. He witnesses her years of solitude, learning the old ways from dying elders, taking on responsibilities that would crush most spirits. He feels her desperate loneliness, her fear that the knowledge she carries will die with her, leaving the world defenseless against ancient hungers. Through it all, he senses something else stirring in the darkness beyond the crossing point. Something vast and patient and utterly alien to human understanding, waiting for the guardians to fail, for the barriers to weaken enough to allow its passage into the physical world. The visions fade, leaving Ethan gasping on his knees in the canyon sand. Ayana kneels beside him, her hand still touching his, her face etched with the same exhaustion he feels. The glowing symbol in her palm has dimmed to barely visible, and he realizes that whatever she just did cost her dearly. Now you know, she whispers. Ethan looks at his hands and discovers that the cuts and scrapes from his desperate flight are healing before his eyes. The gnawing hunger in his belly is gone, replaced by a strength he hasn't felt in years. But more than physical healing has occurred. The crushing weight of guilt and self-hatred that has been his constant companion since Sarah's death has lifted, not because the grief is gone, but because he finally understands the difference between honoring her memory and drowning in it. The thing beyond the crossing, he says, his voice steady for the first time in months. How long before it breaks through? Without a guardian to maintain the barriers? Perhaps a year, perhaps less. It grows stronger as the old ways weaken and the balance shifts toward darkness. Ethan stands, testing his renewed strength, marveling at how different the world looks when viewed through clear eyes. What would I have to do? Learn the ceremonies, understand the responsibilities. Accept that your life is no longer your own but belongs to something greater. Ayana rises as well, though he can see the effort it costs her. The healing ritual has aged her somehow, adding lines to her face that weren't there before. Most difficult of all, you must forgive yourself completely. Guilt and self-doubt create cracks in the barrier that the hunger can exploit. And if I refuse? Then I continue alone until I can continue no more. The crossing opens, and darkness spreads across the land like a plague. Towns die, people vanish, and those who survive learn to live in fear of things that hunt in the night. The choice, when it comes down to it, is no choice at all. Ethan thinks of Sarah, of her final whispered words about his story not ending with her death. He thinks of the settlers and townspeople who have no idea what waits in the space between worlds, hungry for their terror and pain. He thinks of Ayana, bearing an impossible burden alone for 20 years, slowly sacrificing herself to protect a world that doesn't even know she exists. I'll need to send word to Tucson, he says finally. Let people know Ethan McCready died in this canyon, just like your vision showed those gunmen. The man who walks out of here will be someone else. Ayana's smile transforms her face, erasing years of solitude and sorrow. Who will he be? Ethan looks around the sacred canyon, at the ancient symbols that now seem to welcome rather than warn, at the woman who has given him a second chance at purpose. In the distance, storm clouds gather on the horizon, promising the first rain these lands have seen in months. I guess we'll find out together. As thunder rolls across the desert, echoing off the canyon walls like the drums of ancient ceremonies, Ethan McCready takes his first step toward becoming the guardian this sacred place has waited for. Behind him, the crossing point pulses with contained energy, holding back horrors that would remake the world in their own image of hunger and despair. The Apache's touch has given him more than healing. It has given him a reason to live that transcends his own pain, and the strength to protect others from the darkness that always threatens to break through when hope grows thin and guardians fail. In the gathering storm, both human and supernatural forces prepare for a battle that will determine the fate of more than just one broken cowboy and the woman who saved his soul. The real test of his transformation has only just begun.